Today we're going to look at a pretty radical concept from an inventor named Abdullah Buffin. He believes the answer to our energy problems isn't some futuristic high-tech gadget, but actually one of the oldest machines we've got, the train.
So, here's the central question, the big idea that drives this whole thing. What if you could take our old, forgotten, decommissioned trains and turn them into giant, moving, clean energy power plants? Yeah, I know, it sounds a little bit like science fiction, but the actual blueprint for it is surprisingly down to earth.
So, how in the world would this even work? Well, it all starts with a simple, powerful force that the inventor calls artificial wind.
And he uses this really simple, kind of beautiful analogy to explain it. You've all seen this, right? A kid with a pinwheel, and the wind dies down. What do? They start running. They create their own wind just by moving. That simple action, well, that's the key to this entire invention.
And this is so crucial to understand. We are not talking about waiting for Mother Nature to get breezy. We're talking about creating a totally predictable, constant, and really powerful wind using nothing more than the speed of a train. You get a train moving at 100 kilometers an hour, boom, you've just created a 100-kilometer-an-hour headwind. And that is a force you can definitely put to work.
Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts. How do you actually turn a simple train car into a full-blown power generator? The mechanics are actually pretty clever.
You know, maybe the best part of this whole vision is that it uses stuff we already have. We're not talking about building massive new power plants. The idea is to take these old, retired train cars, things that are basically just sitting around rusting, and give them an incredible new job. That alone could make the whole thing way cheaper and faster to get going.
So here's how you turn that motion into energy. First, there's this huge scoop on the front of the train car. Think of it like a giant mouth just swallowing up all that headwind. Then that air gets funneled into these really narrow channels. It's like putting your thumb over the end of a garden hose, right? The pressure builds and the air shoots out, tripling its speed to around 300 kilometers an hour. This super fast jet of air then just blasts against turbines hidden right inside the car, forcing them to spin like crazy.
And from there, it's a pretty classic setup. Each of those spinning turbines is hooked up to a massive 100-kilogram magnet sitting inside a big copper coil. But here's the secret sauce. A special gear system takes that rotation and multiplies it 100 times over. To top it all off, a completely separate automated system uses the train's own motion to pull in cool air and keep those coils from overheating, which is key for efficiency. It's a self-sustaining system.
Okay, so we've got the mechanics down, but what about the power? What does all this motion actually produce? This is where the inventor's claims start to get, well, pretty staggering.
According to the inventor, the huge advantage here is control. I mean, think about it. A normal wind farm is totally at the mercy of the weather. Some days it's windy, some days it's not. But this system, it creates its own wind. As long as that train is moving at a steady speed, the wind it generates is just as steady and way, way more powerful than the average breeze.
And thanks to that super compressed air and that 100 times gear multiplier we talked about, the magnets inside those coils would be spinning at an unbelievable speed. We're talking over 6,000 revolutions per minute. And in a generator, that kind of speed translates directly into a whole lot of power.
So what does 6,000 RPM get you? Well, the inventor did the math. He projects that just a single modified train car with all 8 of its internal generators fired up could produce an incredible 48 megawatts of electricity every single day.
Now here's where your jaw might hit the floor. If you take 100 of those power-generating cars and link them together into one long train, the total daily output would be a mind-blowing 4,800 megawatts. To put that into perspective, that is easily enough electricity to power millions of homes, all from one train just running on a continuous loop of track.
But this isn't just a cool engineering concept. The inventor sees this as a complete economic game changer. It's a blueprint for any nation to achieve total energy independence.
And listen, the inventor is not shy about the potential he sees here. He's on the record saying this invention will, and I quote, signal the death of all other electricity generation systems. He doesn't see this as just another green alternative, he sees it as the end of the competition.
To back up a claim that bold, he makes a pretty dramatic comparison. He looks at a proposed nuclear power plant that's estimated to cost $10 billion just to produce 2,800 megawatts. His train system, he claims, could produce way more power, 4,800 megawatts, for a tiny fraction of the cost and with zero claimed environmental risk.
And this chart just puts that cost difference in really stark terms. If you want to generate 2,800 megawatts a day, The nuclear option is $10 billion. The author estimates his train project could do the same for just $600 million. That's not just a little cheaper. That's a whole different universe of cost.
So what's the end game? Well, it's nothing short of complete energy freedom. The inventor calculates that just 5 of these 100-car powertrains would generate enough electricity to meet the entire daily needs of a country like his home nation of Morocco, completely ending its dependence on foreign energy imports.
So what are we supposed to take away from all this? Really, it's a vision that asks all of us to look at old, familiar technology in a completely new way.
So just to sum it all up, the inventor's core argument is this. Here is a system that repurposes old stuff we already have to create clean, totally controllable power. And it's supposedly way, way cheaper than the alternatives, offering a real path for nations to finally control their own energy destiny.
In the end, whether this specific train plan is perfectly feasible or not, it does force you to ask a really powerful question. This inventor looked at a machine from the 1800s and saw a solution for the 21st century. And it really makes you wonder, what other simple, powerful forces are just hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to see them in a new light?